if we're going to talk about prayer on praying at the speed of love, you got to ask yourself, well, who are the great teachers? Who can teach us what prayer really is? Well, my top teachers, first and always Sophia, the divine feminine for me, but then the angels. And one of my oldest, earliest, and most beautiful angel guidance oracles is this: angel blessings. I've had it for a long time. In fact, I can't even remember when I got it and who told me about it. I have no memory. That happens a lot of how this particular deck came to me. But I do remember that this card, Zadkiel, really completely transformed my understanding of prayer. At the time this card came to me in answer to some question, I confess I didn't know who Zadkiel was. It was this card that changed my understanding of prayer. So I'm just going to read you a wee little bit of it in the way of introducing the author, who is also the author of this brand new book, The Little Book of Angel Healing, Kimberly Maroney. That's my conversation this week on Praying at the Speed of Love, episode number 16. You make the 10s. This is a 10. And then you twist your hand around and touch your little finger, which is 6. So this is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how that works? Because now you can go 7, 8, 9, 10. You can do any number, no matter how big, on one hand. Sign language is so cool. But so now we're going to take the 10 plus the 6, 16. And so that'll make 17 and so on, right? 16. So Zadkiel on episode 16 is our great teacher about prayer. And Kimberly opens this with a quote from St. John of the Cross, the Spiritual Canticles. Now, this is going to say God, He, and if you've been hanging out with me, you know it's always God, she, but I'm going to leave it as St. John of the Cross wrote it because he had this intimate experience of Jesus. Even drinking the milk from Jesus's breasts, it's still Jesus. But that, of course, is this entire mystical, the divine feminine always expresses in and through and as masculine saints. Oh, then, soul most beautiful among all the creatures, so anxious to know the dwelling place of your beloved, that you may go in quest of him and be united with him. Now we are telling you that you yourself are his dwelling, his secret chamber and hiding place. St. John of the Cross. So that's the quote for the card for Archangel Zadkiel, the Archangel of Prayer. Listen to the opening sentence. Zadkiel guards the powers of invocation. Well, that means the minute I open my heart, my mind, my vocal cords, my body, in any kind of invocation to the divine, Zadkiel is there, guarding. It's an important verb, don't you think? Guarding. Zadkiel guards the powers of invocation. The best known and most powerful form of invocation is prayer. True prayer is the deep call from your heart, focused with awareness of the mind and intensified by the power of desire. And so on for an entire page and a half. This information on prayer, it came to me years before Praying the Speed of Love, years before, Prayer Artist, years before, thanks to Prayer Artist, this just became the entire focus of my life. It was so important for me to understand Zadkiel as the Archangel of Prayer. And this is the gift from Kimberly. So when my agent, who's also her agent, told me that this book was coming out, The Little Book of Angel Healing by, where's her name? Kimberly Maroney, then obviously I knew, well, for heaven's sakes, my camera won't focus, but there's her name. Of course, if we're going to talk about prayer, we have to have Archangel Zadkiel and all of the angels. When I was awakened with the prayer artist, the first thing I did was contact the angel guidance person that I am an intimate friend with, Margot Master Markey. And I did ask them to teach me about prayer. And you know how when you go to my website, janetconner.com, you see this? Love 2. Love times love. Love squared. It would have to be like this. Love squared. Love 2. That definition came or was inspired by when I asked the angels through Margot, what is prayer? We had a long conversation. We actually had multiple conversations about it. And they wouldn't answer me right away because, you know, that's the way what they'll do is plant a little seed, and then I have to digest that seed and do some deep soul writing and do some praying. And then I come back to them and say, now, what about this? And they go, not exactly, dear. You know, and so it's an evolution. They don't just, or at least this has been my experience, give me the PhD on what it is I'm asking about because I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And even if all of that divine food landed, you know, I couldn't re-articulate it. I couldn't digest it. I couldn't be it. But on the third or fourth conversation about prayer, they took pity on me and finally gave me their definition of prayer. Ready? According to the angels, prayer is the vibration of love that goes beyond all universes. Can you get your head around that? I cannot get my head around that. I can feel my way into it, but if you try to intellectually understand it, I think Einstein his brain would fall apart trying to understand it. Prayer is a vibration. What kind of vibration? The vibration of love, period, right? No other kind of vibration. Prayer is the vibration of love. And then that vibration, think of sound vibration. It goes where? Beyond all universes? What do you mean beyond all universes? We're having a hard enough time hanging on to an intellectual picture of one universe. What do you mean beyond all universes? You see what I mean? This is not your average run-of-the-mill definition, but I know it's true. My heart knows it's true. That in this lifetime, my brain won't be able to digest that. But the truth is, when I pray, the love that I'm praying not only touches you, because I get that part about in the mystical body, right? Praying at the speed of love. I pray and you are prayed, we are prayed, we are prayed together at the speed of love. Yeah, you know, I can kind of, I mean, those words came through me. I can sort of kind of hang on to that. I can try to visualize the mystical body of the goddess. But a vibration of prayer that goes beyond all universes? Well, now. But maybe the mystical body of the goddess goes beyond all universes. So, okay. So, my first great teacher about prayer, Zadkiel, came through Kimberly Maroney, like 20 years ago. I think this came out in the mid-90s. So, of course, we're going to have a conversation with Kimberly about the little book of angel healing. Healing. And look at the subtitle, First Aid from the Heavenly Realms. First aid. Now, if you've been hanging out with me, you know that I'm redefining prayer. And the first new definition of prayer, because I've had it with what it says in the dictionary, that's what patriarchy says prayer is. I'm not putting up with that. My first definition of prayer is love songs. This is the real intimacy. This is the mystical communion. This is the sacred marriage. So, okay, you know, love songs. And when you pray, you can feel it. You can feel it in your body. Love songs. But my second definition is medicine. Prayer is sacred medicine that cherishes your body, that embraces your heart. You can feel it. You can feel it. That expands your body, right? And blows your mind. Prayer's medicine. So here's a whole book of the medicine. A whole book. And I love the way she structured this. Based on people asking her for angel guidance, there are like 30 of these. So let's just say that what's going on with you is, I'm sinking into sadness and depression. Been there, done that. So if that's your experience, you can open the table of contents, find, you know what, I would like a prescription from the angels for my sense of sadness and depression. And then you can read. There's an opening blessing, there's a description, there are specific angels that show up to help you. These are the ascension angels. And then here's the actual prescription that you can then experience. It's sort of like a meditation, but it's very specific. Like this one invites you to step into your inner senses, know that you are held in love. So you hold that energy with Metatron for a while. Place your, you see, I did it with the audio and reading it. Place your, that's funny, right? Proof that the prescription is true. Place your left hand, oh, it says on the back of your head. Okay, I didn't get that right. So there, place your left hand on the back of your head, and so on, and so on. It's a prescription. So I invited Kimberly to come on the show and talk about the wisdom of the angels on prayer. I've asked her to pray with us. I've asked her to open the conversation with a prayer. I'm going to ask her how the angels define prayer. And of course, we're going to pray together because we always do that on Praying at the Speed of Love. All of this on episode 16. Got that? 16. Live Thursday, October 17th. Yeah, it's hard to hold the 16 and the 17 in the same sentence. Episode 16 on October 17th. Be with me for a gorgeous, rich, mystical conversation. We're going to drop our understanding of the angels deeper, 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 and the angels are going to take us deeper and deeper into the mystical experience of prayer, right? I mean, if you're praying with the angels, if you're praying with Zadkiel, I don't think it gets any better than this. And then come to the show notes page, listen to the whole thing, and click and get a transcript, and for sure join the community because Kimberly's there. She's going to answer your questions about the living presence of the angels and their wisdom on prayer. All for you at Praying at the Speed of Love.